What if I told you that you could triple your company's revenue target by focusing on the wrong problem? Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what we did. In this video, I'm going to tell you the story of how a data science project turned an annual revenue goal of $200,000, which everyone thought was impossible, into a result of $600,000. And the secret wasn't in the most complex algorithm or the most brilliant marketing campaign. It was hidden somewhere no one was looking. Stick with me, and you'll see how a simple shift in perspective can create results that look like magic, but are pure science. It all started with a product that, on paper, was fantastic. Imagine you own a restaurant. Mondays and Tuesdays are a desert. Almost no one shows up. Our company came to you with a solution. How about launching a cashback campaign? On slow days, offer 10% cashback to any customer we bring to you. In exchange, we charge you a small fee for the service. Then, we use our app to send push notifications to customers saying, "Hey, Joe's restaurant right near you has an amazing cashback offer." The customer goes, eats, pays through our system, and the restaurant owner finally sees their place packed on days that used to be a loss. It seemed like a win-win-win. The customer gets cashback, the restaurant gets business, and our company earns a fee. The problem? To justify this product, upper management set a target: generate $200,000 in annual revenue from these fees. When that target landed on our desk, the mood in the room got heavy. $200,000 per year. With a brand new product that still needed to prove its value. Honestly, it didn't seem like a bold goal. It seemed like a joke. Deep down, none of us had any idea how we'd get there. It was like looking at the top of Everest while wearing flip-flops. The main pain this product aimed to solve was for businesses suffering from slow periods. Restaurants, stores, cafes that had busy weekends and holidays, but huge losses during the week. Our solution was a lifeline for these businesses. And since it was so innovative, the product was born inside the data science team. There wasn't an old process or manual spreadsheets. We were starting from scratch. And our starting point was a desert. No map, just a destination that seemed out of reach. And here's a key detail. We were working with a universe of about 300,000 active businesses, all of them potential clients for our solution. With an impossible target on our hands, the first question was, where do we even start? The most obvious question was, why aren't businesses buying our product? We talked to potential clients. The answer we heard most was about the fee. "Oh, another fee. I already pay for so much." We ran an experiment. For some key businesses, we dropped the fee to zero. Guess what? Even without charging them, the product still made money for our company. How? Because our system earned money on the transaction itself, and the difference in fees between the places customers visited ended up working in our favor. Okay, so price wasn't the only problem. That led us to the next, maybe most important question. Why aren't customers using the offers? This answer opened the real can of worms. First, the offer just wasn't reaching the customer. We found out the screen where offers appeared was buried deep inside the app. You had to click 5 or 6 times to get there. And our email communication was a disaster. Our emails were so generic, they looked like spam. Most went straight to the trash without even being opened. Second, and even worse, the offers were irrelevant. The first version of our recommendation system was, to put it nicely, pretty naive. We took the customer's location and showed the closest offers. But close is relative. We got complaints from people getting notifications for a pizza place 12 miles away. Worse, the place's style had nothing to do with the customer. Imagine you love a simple lunch spot, but you get an offer for a fancy French restaurant across town. Not only do you not go, but you start thinking the app doesn't get you at all. It was while analyzing this irrelevance that we had our eureka moment, the light at the end of the tunnel. It was obvious to us that geographic distance was the most important factor. The closer the offer, the more likely the customer would go. The problem was, for privacy and ethics, we couldn't and didn't want to access the customer's exact GPS coordinates in real time. That would be invasive. So, how could we know where the customer was or where they lived and worked? The answer was in the trail they already left. Think about your daily life. You grab coffee at the same bakery near work. You have lunch at one or two restaurants in the area. On weekends, you hit the supermarket near home. Every transaction you make with our system leaves a little dot on the map. Alone, those dots don't mean much. But together, they tell a story. The big insight was, what if we use the locations of the places the customer already visits to estimate their areas of interest? We didn't need to know where the customer was. We needed to know where they usually were. Our theory was that by analyzing the geographic coordinates of the places they spend money, we could map their main activity centers, home, work, maybe a leisure spot. It was a way to deeply understand the customer without ever invading their privacy, like piecing together a puzzle. With that idea in hand, we got to work. And, like every good innovation story, our first try was a total flop. The first idea was the simplest. Take the coordinates of all the places the customer visited and calculate the average. The midpoint should be the center of life for that person, right? Wrong. We started getting weird complaints. Customers who lived on one side of the city and worked on the other were getting offers for restaurants in the middle of nowhere, usually along their commute. Our algorithm, in its innocence, calculated the average and found a spot halfway between home and work, a spot where the person would never actually stop. We realized simplicity had betrayed us. We needed something smarter. That's when we turned to a clustering algorithm called DBSCAN. Don't worry about the name. The idea is simple. Instead of mixing everything and taking an average, DBSCAN acts like an organizer. It looks at all the dots on the map and starts grouping them. Okay, these 5 restaurants are all close together. That's the work cluster. These other 4, a bakery and a supermarket, are group 2. That's the home cluster. And there's that random dot far away from a trip. I'll ignore that. It's an outlier. After the algorithm grouped the locations, or clusters, then we'd take the average of each group. That way, we could pinpoint with surprising accuracy the 2 or 3 main areas in the customer's life. Now, the offers started to make sense. We solved the logic problem, but created another scale. Running this clustering algorithm for one customer was fast, but we had a base of 6 million customers. Doing this one by one would take, well, maybe we'd finish next year. The processing time was insane, and our servers were begging for mercy. The biggest technical obstacle was this. The solution came with a Python optimization tool called Swifter. Basically, it let us parallelize the process, running calculations for thousands of customers at the same time way more efficiently. That's what made the project possible. Now we knew where the customer was. But in a busy area, there could be dozens of offers. Which one to show first? The closest? The one with the biggest cashback? Neither. The best offer is the most relevant for that specific customer. To solve this, we implemented a second algorithm called learning to rank. Its job was to order the eligible offers for each person. And to do that, it looked at a mix of variables. 1. Price compatibility. We analyzed the customer's average transaction value and compared it to the restaurant's average ticket. No use offering a pricey place to someone who usually spends less. 2. Personal preferences. Did the customer say in the app what kind of food they like? Vegan, barbecue, Japanese? The system matched this with the restaurant's cuisine type. 3. Shopping habits. Does this person spend more during the week or on weekends? The system used this info to prioritize offers that fit their pattern. With all this running, our final solution wasn't a pretty dashboard or a report. It was a set of Python scripts running regularly, feeding a giant table in our database. This table had 3 key columns: the business, the eligible customer, and a recommendation score from 0 to 100. The business team then set a cutoff like, only send notifications for offers with a score above 80, making sure only the best matches reach the customer. We'd built an amazing machine. The geographic eligibility algorithm was precise. The ranking system was smart. The customer experience had improved dramatically. We were all proud, waiting to see sales to businesses take off. But they didn't. The sales team still struggled to sell the product. We tried everything. We put a huge banner on the business portal. You could reach 5,000 new customers in your area with a campaign. Click here. Engagement was super low. There was a sense of frustration. How could this be? We had the best technical solution on the market, but it wasn't selling. It was the tensest moment of the project. After all that effort, it looked like we'd fail at the finish line. The real turning point, the true climax, came when we realized we were obsessed with optimizing the customer experience and had forgotten to optimize our own sales team's experience. The problem wasn't the product, it was focus. The sales team was trying to sell to everyone, randomly, spending tons of energy on clients who'd bring little return. Remember, we had about 300,000 active businesses in our network, but not all of them would bring the same value. The final solution, the one that got us to $600,000, was creating a third algorithm, this time one to analyze the businesses themselves. We used a technique called Multiple Criteria Decision Analysis (MCDA). With it, we assigned weights to several business variables: number of transactions already running through us, the fee they paid, growth potential in the area, the profile of customers already nearby. The result was a ranking, a gold list telling the sales team, don't talk to those 5,000 businesses, talk to these 50. They have the highest potential to bring in revenue. That's what changed the game. Selling didn't get easier. In fact, selling to these bigger, more strategic clients was harder. It took more prep, but the effort became way more rewarding. Each sale wasn't just a small win, it was a big, solid contract. With the sales team now focused, they started hitting targets, then surpassing them. That's how we watched the numbers climb, past the $200,000 mark, then $400,000, and finally settle above $600,000. The team's and managers' reaction was pure joy and a bit of disbelief. The impossible goal hadn't just been met, it was tripled. Looking back, this project was a masterclass, and the biggest lesson was the importance of questioning assumptions. Lesson 1: Data beats gut feelings. While developing the ranking system, some managers from other areas would come with suggestions. Add this variable to the model, I'm sure it'll work. These were hunches based on their gut. We, being good data scientists, tested them. We checked the correlation and impact of those variables and found they added nothing. They were useless. There were some debates, a bit of tug of war, but in the end, data won. Focusing on simpler solutions that actually brought value was crucial. We didn't want to create a monster of a project. Lesson 2: The power of asking, why? If I could give one piece of advice to any analyst or data scientist who wants to make a real impact at their company, it's this: learn to ask questions. Ask, politely, why things are done a certain way. And don't be surprised if the answer is because it's always been that way. That's your biggest opportunity. Data science exists to challenge the status quo, but for that, you need more than code and algorithms. You need storytelling. You need to show the potential and help people step out of their comfort zones gently and respectfully. The success of this project wasn't just the data team's achievement, it was a joint effort. The product team embraced the changes, and most importantly, the sales team trusted our analysis and focused their efforts brilliantly. Data science was the map, but they were the ones who climbed the mountain. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends.